Hello everybody, today we are going to look at hearing protection for musicians. Hopefully it's going to be a very useful video for those of you who play music and want to keep your hearing. Today we're going to look at 4 products and hopefully there will be some sort of conclusion at the end as to what will work best for you. The first one is the Acs Custom-Made Ear Plug. It's made of silicone. And it has, at the back here, you can see little changeable filters, so you can have various amounts of gain reduction. The second is Knops. It's a Kickstarter thing. I decided to buy one. This comes with these little silicone universal earpieces, and it has variable gain reduction via, on these two hands, spinning this disc. It has fully closed and what they claim is fully open. Next is the Etymotic electronic hearing protection. This is the musician's version. It has a variable gain reduction via this switch at the back here between 9 and 15 decibels. It actually comes with this kind of earpiece like the Knops have, which fits on. This is what they look like, and I find those extremely uncomfortable. So what I've done is I've made my own custom one, so it fits well. And the last one that we're going to look at is, it's not actually designed to be ear defense, but it works. I would use these on stage. These are 64 audio headphones, and if you see here, there's a little bit here, this is an exchangeable filter. You can take it out. This is a 15, there's a 20 and a 30 as well that you can use. When you take it out, it has roughly 9 decibels of gain reduction. Okay, so let's talk about each one's, the pros and the cons. The ACS ones are made of silicone, which means that they're very soft. They're comfortable to put in the ears. They say that silicone is the best. I would disagree at this point. Silicone needs maintenance because it's a porous material. It perspires. And it also kind of, dirt goes into it. So here is a kind of older earbud. This used to be see-through and now it's kind of gross milky white color. And that's kind of what happens to silicone when you use it quite often. So you need to change them from time to time. Because they're silicone, they're not that easy to put in. They sort of like grip onto your ear because it's not that slippery a material. So you kind of have to like spit on them, or they give you this kind of lubrication cream, which you may or may not want to use. I've not used it yet. And they have, I think it's 3 different filters, so probably 15, 20 and 30. I kind of only use one. It's a pain in the ass to take them out, of course, between rehearsals or pieces of music. It's not really something that you might do. The sound that they produce, I guess you could say, or that they allow into your ear, sounds okay. It's not the same. It's not the same quality as when your ears are, free of obstruction. So it will alter the sound a little bit. So you need to kind of get used to that if you use them. But they're not bad. They're not bad. You can get used to it and use them. The next ones are the Knops that we're talking about here. Now this is horrible, absolutely horrible. So what I've done is I've made my own custom one. It looks like this. It makes them a lot bigger. It doesn't make them look as good in your ear, but what it does do is when you max out the noise cancellation with your wheel here, it will really, see it spins, it will really kind of give you massive amounts of gain reduction. So if you want, safer levels, then that's the way. Now let me show you what they look like in your ear. They're kind of funny looking. They're definitely not your most designer friendly ones, I guess. So they do look different. This one's a bit more flush with the ear, and this one sticks out a lot more, so it makes it a lot more obvious. However, you can stay in with this all day long, whereas this one kind of gets a bit more itchy because of that kind of the flanges. Now, when I have them fully open, which I do now, I'm getting some gain reduction, and I'm also getting a kind of nasally type sound because of the design. What do they call it? They call it a kind of gramophone style cone, and yeah, so when it's quiet, I just gave myself a moment of quiet there. You can kind of hear kind of sound gently here, kind of just because of the way the sound is funneled into them. So about 9 decibels of gain reduction perhaps. If I was to be playing my instrument, now I play the cello, it would sound kind of more nasally. So you might not really want to use this setting, but when you're in a rehearsal and the conductor's talking or whatever you need to hear, you just kind of both in a second, and then you can hear what's going on, which is very important. Whereas with these ones, you'd have to take them out each time. Now, if you turn them around once, that kind of sound is now gone. So now they sound very similar to these ACS ones, the same kind of filtering. Now they'll go again, and one more. Same sort of thing, except more gain reduction. And now that it's maxed out, I can hear a very big difference between this one and this one. This ear is definitely picking out more, and this one is just like killing as far more sound. And then back to open, and you're good to go. A good thing that you could use these for is like if you're playing sort of different volume pieces, you know, you could have it open for one, the next one's louder, you could turn them in, turn them down a bit more, even more, and then when the conductor's talking, bang, and you can hear what's happening. It's a bit more tricky to pull out this one, of course, but that's really not a big deal at all. So from the flexibility point of view, the Knops is far better. I think for a rehearsal, these would be really quite useful. The next ones are these Etymotics, the music ones. These have a battery and they have a little microphone here at the back, and they pick up sound through the microphone, and then depending on what kind of gain reduction you've picked through the switch here, they will play back something through the little built-in speaker. It's like an earpiece, not an earpiece, a headphone kind of thing. The good thing about these is that you can always hear what's going on. So the way they work is they have a limiter inside, and the limiter has a threshold. Anything that goes above this threshold of sound gets stopped, so no more than this will get through. And from below, here's the problem, everything gets pushed up, so the quiet stuff gets pushed up. So when there isn't music being played anymore and there's just talking, you can hear the talking really well. And I said there's a problem because that sounds really good, doesn't it? But there is a problem with this. If you're in a room where they have fluorescent lights, for example, or anything with some sort of static sound, that static sound is also picked up by the microphone and amplified. So where you could hear a gentle humming in the background that you could easily ignore. Let's say for the sake of argument, the fridge. You're not going to have a fridge in the practice room, but that's a sound that everybody can relate to. You can hear it gently, you can kind of tune it out, but this thing amplifies the hell out of it when it's quiet. And when you're not playing, it'll be buzzing in your head, driving you absolutely mental. And I find these really uncomfortable to play with because of that. Whilst you're playing, it's okay. Whilst you're not playing, it's horrible. Any little tiny sound, if someone drops a key, banging into your head, absolutely horrendous. So really, these are kind of my least favorite, I think. And of course the battery powers, the batteries run out. Once you've opened the batteries, they have a little kind of sticker on the back covering this hole. The battery will start to run out all on its own, and I don't know how long you get out of them because I don't use them very often. But sometimes you're going to want to use them and you've got no battery, so I don't know. They might be useful for some people, but I don't really like using these, to be honest. The last ones, of course, are my 64 audios. These are headphones, and I would use these on a live stage. So if I'm playing like amplified music, I would put the filter in that most suits the occasion, and then of course I can monitor what I'm doing through the PA system, or however. I usually use a wireless pack, and it gets sent wirelessly, and I get ambience from a microphone as well, so I can kind of hear what the crowd's doing. Very cool. So I wouldn't use these in a rehearsal, of course, because that's not the point. But I would use these on stage. You know, if you are rehearsing, then it should be not like a normal orchestra rehearsal, because they're not earplugs as such. I mean, you can pull out the cables and use them as earplugs, but I wouldn't use them for that because I've got other things. When you put in the 30 dB filters, I was actually at a gig once, and there were bagpipes playing in the background, and I had these in with the 30 dBs, and I was writing music on my laptop and I couldn't hear the bagpipes at all. Obviously, if there was no music playing on the laptop, I would have been able to hear something, but they'd block out like crazy. Point of interest, you might recognize the shape of these. Basically, yeah, I made a mold of these, and then made my own earpieces out of them. Okay, so hopefully that's covered all the basics. I mean, look, you can have something like this. This is again a copy of that. This is just a lump of resin, and when you pop this in, it's like everything dies around you. And you know, if you need that for whatever reason, this is a great thing. I have them also in the kind of smaller version as well. These aren't as good because they're thinner. For one thing, like the tips are thinner. I don't know if you can actually tell or not in the camera, but they're a little bit thinner, so they don't stay in there as well. So if you're moving around, talking, whatever, these kind of start to come loose a little bit and you have to push them back in. Whereas these ones, you pop them in, no matter what you're doing, this will stay in. It kind of locks into the ear, into the whole ear. Let me show you what they look like, in fact. So you kind of twist them in, and then that's it. And then everything is covered. And you put them in, like the world just kind of goes dead. Sometimes you need that, right? So the conclusion to this video, for me, you know, if you get free stuff from work, the ACS were free from work, the Etymotics were free from work, but I always found that they just weren't quite good enough for me. And I've literally just finished custom making the Knops today, so this thing has just been finished today. So these are going to be in my gig bag now, so when I go somewhere I need ear protection, these will come with me. And the reason that is because they're comfortable and they're so flexible in terms of how the gain reduction works, that it's great for me. The other thing as well, okay, so let me see if I can show you. The build quality of these is not amazing. There we go. I think you can see it now. Like, it looks like it's been glued together by school children. This it just looks bad. I mean, you can feel the kind of line, the seam. The rest is kind of okay. If you take this bit off, this is kind of what you have, and even the hole, it's not even round. I mean. It works. It doesn't have a premium feel to it. I mean, I think there were like 60 euros or something like that. And of course, if you're to get something like this, you have to pay for ear imprints. Again, I didn't pay for them, but these maybe cost you £100 and something. These Etymotics are, I think, 250 or something like that. And I'm not even going to tell you how much the 64 audios cost, but that's a different thing altogether. But these are the best of a bad situation, I think. You want to be able to keep your hearing, and you want to be able to do your job at the same time. And so far, this is the best that I've found. If something new and better comes out, I'll be happy to give it a try. But this is, in fact, I'm showing you the wrong one. This is the best available. They're not that much to try out, to see if they work for you or not. But I'd recommend giving them a try if hearing protection is important to you. Okay, thanks for joining me today. I hope this was useful. See you guys next time.